welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
If you've ever been unsure which way to turn or what to do with what just happened in your life, then do we have the Love Whatever Arises show for you. Today we'll talk about being open, allowing for the unknown, and embracing whatever comes up, no matter how stinky or scary it feels. That plus we'll talk about prana models on the beach, a black mold scare gone good, the power of the push mower, swimming waves, green screen madness, and why in the world Michael's calves feel like inflatable balloons.
Oh no.
So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to
I
shine?
am ready to shine.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
So before we dive right into things, how are things going in your life right now?
Well, the two things I wanted to talk about are I'm act it's funny that you're talking about just embracing uncertainty, right? Or embracing whatever shows up. I'm about to do a group coaching session and this group has so many stories and experiences that have created all these emotional responses. And it's my husband's like it's almost like you need to get a thing of popcorn and just sit and watch because there's so much. And what I realize is all organizations have stuff that happens because if when I really think about it, every single person that I've ever coached, because I coach mostly business people, whether they run a big national park or they run a small organization or they're a nonprofit, like every organization, there's a dynamic of people that get together and they have emotional stuff that comes up. And at work, we're told not to have any emotions, right? It's not okay. So what we do is we just do our jobs and we march along, even though we've had an emotional response. Someone gave you a comment on a report that hurt your feelings, or you know what I mean? We have all those kinds of things. And I'm realizing from, coach perspective or someone who works usually individually that organizations have a lot of oftentimes have a lot of healing opportunities that I don't even think that they realize are healing opportunities. And because emotions are not considered part of acceptable part of the workspace, these emotions get unattended and then they fester like your black mold and they grow really rapidly and affect us in ways that they're like the silent killer of organizations. It's
I
really
see that.
it's fascinating, and so that's my one thing. I've been preparing for this group coaching session, and then the other thing that's so interesting about working with organizations, because I've generally worked with individuals versus individuals that comprise an organization, but when you work with an individual, there'll be lots of different voices, right? So if you were, let's say, work with me, there's like the mom hat, the daughter hat. There's different aspects of my personality. And so when you listen to one person, like let's say you're listening to myself, it's almost like you're talking to like several, like a split personality. There's an aspect of me that's like a go-getter and aggressive, and then there's a part of me that's like really peaceful, and then there's a part of me that's like, kind and shy and quiet. There's all these different parts of us. And what's interesting within an organization, within a company, or even within a team, each of those individuals on the team are kind of like split personnel. It's like aspects of yourself. And so the team that's made up of, let's say, 10 individuals has a personality in and of itself that's made up of all the all the splits of each individual in the team. And the organization has also a personality that is comprised with all the people in there, and they call that a team culture. And so it's interesting or that's like the team's basically the organizational personality. They don't say personality, but from my individual work, it's pretty much a personality. So I've just been kind of noodling around with that. So that's my big thing that I'm noodling on right now. And then later on, I
I,
want to talk to you about stillness. But I want to talk about your well, I don't know. So that's basically my kind of observations about life now.
what I find really cool, either on a spiritual level or it's something that Jessica and I talk a lot about, which is no matter how infinitely small you go or infinitely large you go, it's all the same stuff.
Hmm.
It's repeating patterns. It's repeating really universes within universes. So whether it's one individual as a personality or one organization as a personality among many, it's the same thing.
Right. Or all those organizations or teams create a Seattle area, and those create like, and then it
Bingo.
becomes Washington State, which becomes the United States, which becomes, the world. It's just so I think they're holographic, and so because I was explaining, I was like, wow, I was getting some feedback from a friend of mine who's a psychotherapist, because a lot of these issues are emotional, deeply emotional, but they come with each individual, and then individuals within individual. It's most complex. It's very complex, and and she was commenting like, "Wow, this seems like like a nightmare, and it's like a drama, and like I need to get popcorn." And I was like, it is, but then if you really think back to it, it always is, even when it goes down to your individual level. We create dramas where we're the main character in the story, and we have other characters that we play with in our story, and they're the villain or the angel or our dear friend. Like they're all kind of stories. And so yeah, we do that individually, and we do that in groups, and we do that in an organization. So, because she was a little bit, I felt like a little bit like, well, what's wrong with this organization? It's like, well, it's almost like asking what's wrong with the group. Every single organization has these kinds of issues. Every single one. This organization was intelligent enough and smart enough to say, yes, I know something's going on. What do I need to do? Right? So applaud them, right? Just like when I say, oh, I've got an issue, I need to go see my coach, right? It's like you're asking for help. That's the first step.
Woohoo!
Woo! So tell me about your life.
Life is good. Life
Yeah?
is very good. It's been a roller coaster of a week here, but we came to the conclusion a few days ago. I've been very open and accepting and non-judgmental, but just wanting to see how things unfold as to how do I feel about this place. And now,
Mm.
granted, it's May. It's not the fall or the winter, and who knows what we'll think of it here. And we're on this kind of 11-month trial of the
Mm-hmm.
place. But 2 mornings ago, Jessica came bounding or hopping and skipping down the hallway, and she said, I feel like I could live in this place for a while. And she
Oh.
goes, how do you feel?
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, no, I'm like, yeah, actually, I feel the same. And she's like, isn't that cool? It's feeling really homey. It's feeling really special, really
Right.
cool. I was out on the beach a couple days ago, just basically doing some inner woo-hoos, going, we did it. We're actually living someplace where we wanted to be able to say, my God, I can't believe I live here.
Mm.
And even though we've lived on Maui, we've lived in Boulder, we lived in Taos, and all those places, we had our nose either so much to the grindstone or something was just slightly discordant. I don't want to complain about Maui. How can you complain about paradise?
Right.
Although Jessica got knocked down and seriously,
Right.
seriously ill there,
Right.
but we've never had that je ne sais quoi, that special thing, whatever it is, that says, wow, 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 I
Right.
can't believe we're here.
Mm.
And we're hitting the wow factor, and we're like, oh, thank God.
Oh, that's so great.
So it's been really magical here. We've been enjoying it. I mentioned in the intro yesterday there were some waves that kind of came up, sort of like waves of emotion. It was really fun. The ocean got, I don't know, with 3, 4, 5 foot waves. Nothing that big. People were grabbing their boogie boards and heading for the surf, and I'm out there swimming in it, just in the blender a little bit, going wee, and just having a blast. I mean, compared to the 70 something degree water compared to the churned up lake on the New York border I was swimming late last fall, this was paradise.
Yeah. So is it warm?
To me, because I mean, we talked about last year how the cold water I was swimming in, it feels balmy. In fact, I'm wearing the only thing other than my swimsuit that I'm wearing is kind of a head covering that has this giant fluorescent orange stripe on it so people can see me, and
Mm.
that feels too warm.
Wow.
So the water feels amazing to me. It's got it. All water and all oceans and all beaches have their own hydraulics and stuff going to it. This one, where it can be only a foot deep, you can have a 5 foot wave, maybe even a much bigger wave. So it kind of just sucks you out with each wave and then
Wow.
brings you back in. And the hydraulics are very interesting. With that said, I respect water and the ocean
I was gonna
and
say,
very, very, very much.
because we were on a beach in Hawaii, and we didn't see that there were these caution flags all over. We, for whatever reason, we just ran out to the beach because we were so excited, and didn't notice that everyone was not in the beach. But we ran to the beach, and it was shallow, but those waves there can just knock you out, drag you out, and kill you,
So
basically.
Maui, these waves were different yesterday. There was a serious hydraulics going on, but we played on the beaches of Maui for
Right.
years, so we have
Right.
a good idea or a good respect for it.
Mm-hmm.
But Maui has, it's the top of a mountain, of an underground mountain or underwater mountain that's another 20,000 feet deep.
Mm-hmm.
So big, and it's 10,000 feet deep, not that far from shore. So the waves are traveling all the way across the Pacific, and they've stacked one wave on top
Oh, wow. I never
of
thought of that.
so instead of a wave just coming up and going down, just I don't know what the term is for it, frequency cycle. It's we'll call it the thickness of the wave rather than the height of the wave. A wave around here isn't very thick. It comes up, it hits you. It's a wave. It's pretty powerful, and if it gets big, it's really powerful. But then it goes down, and that's it. The Maui wave is a freight train coming at you that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't just hit you. It's not up and down. It's up, boom, keep coming through with this wall of water, then goes back down.
Yeah, you can.
And
I
then
literally got knocked over because like one wave came. It didn't even look that dangerous, and it knocked me on my feet. And like I think it was back. I can't remember, but it knocked me off my feet.
it's the mass. And then what happens is the freight train comes in, and now it's pulling right back out,
Yeah,
and
it
it can
sucks you
very
out.
easily tumble you, and then it's the next wave that gets you.
Yeah.
So, which is why tourists have to be, everybody has to be very careful. Even me getting out of the water yesterday, it was a running backwards game to get out of the
Oh
water
wow.
because as the waves come in, as several did, caught up with me trying to get out of the water, even though it's only a foot deep, all of a sudden you've got a 5 foot wave, or maybe it's a 6 foot wave because it's on top of a foot of
Mm-hmm.
water, a
Mm-hmm.
wave over your head coming at you. You got to dive into the wave rather than try to get out. You dive
Right.
into the wave, it's calmer behind it. If you try to get out, it knocks you down and then twirls you.
Wow. Well, that's good that you actually had that experience in Maui, so you kind of now kind of understand, like you're calling the hydraulics. Is that why your calves feel like inflatable balloons?
The calves feel like inflatable balloons, and I'm happy it's not the Achilles or anything. I have a strong habit of not overdoing things
Right.
because I've overdone it so much in the past.
Yes.
Um, but we were out a couple days ago, and there's a boardwalk a few miles from the house up the beach. We're about 5 to 7 minutes from the beach,
Mm-hmm.
uh, jogging or walking somewhere in there. There are no major roads to cross. You're just in a neighborhood, and you're at the beach. It's amazing.
Nice.
And then you can see this boardwalk way up in the distance.
Mm.
And when we got here, I said, by the time the summer's over, we're going to be at that Boardwalk Plus. It's going to seem so close. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was saying, maybe by the end of the month, we'll get to the boardwalk.
Right.
And then this week, it was maybe by next Monday, we'll get to the boardwalk. And the day was actually 2 days ago with Jessica trailblazing the way.
Wait, how
And
many
me,
miles again you said is this far?
I don't know. Our GPS, we have a GPS watch, and it said, watch full, you must download information or you're going to lose
Oh,
it.
right.
And we can't find the little ant
Oh,
USB
right.
to save our lives.
Oh,
So we got to get one in.
right.
My guess is it's 3 miles. It could be four, but it's beach. And beach sounds really easy, but it's actually a lot of work on the
Yeah.
sand.
Yeah.
So she starts leading the charge. We weren't planning on going for it. And I was actually having fun with my camera out taking pictures of her, and
Oh,
I'll
cool.
explain that in a minute. Um, but we just kept getting closer and closer, and finally this decision was, well, okay, I guess we go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way back, the train fell off the rails, so to speak,
Oh
and
no,
and
no.
it was fine, no big drama or anything. I just know we knew we had gone a little bit too far,
Right.
and we're working to get back in and trying to do it by before 9 because it seems like after 9 it's roasty toasty on the beach. That's when all the tanners come out. But if you've been running for a few hours,
Yeah, you don't want to be out there then. Yeah.
so. But it was just such a special divine run, and Jessica has turned into such an amazing athlete. So today I'm like, oh, sore, stiff. Oh, 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 oh. I guess it was yesterday because she took me out again this morning and she's like, are you going to be up for running again? And I'm like, no, not really. But okay, let's go.
So you went running too after
I,
these
I, I
gigantic
ran a good half a
casts?
mile this morning and then I'm like, that's it.
Yeah,
I'm done.
right.
And so I'm like, I'm not pushing it. So, but it's interesting. I don't know if it's the clean air. It's rated the cleanest air in the country, the clean water. I don't know what's going on in Florham Park, New Jersey, and even before that on Maui. If I did a lot, I got really sore and or got injured.
Mm.
And so I was always concerned, am I doing too much? Am I doing too much? Am I doing too much? Here, there is a feeling, a sense about it that you might get sore for a day, but then your body is going to recover like that. It's almost like I'm back in my 20s or something, where it
Nice.
can do no wrong. And so far, each day, I've been getting stronger and stronger. And it's kind of wild. And I don't know if I talk about it's great for us all to be close to nature so that you can get out and have that accessibility. I can't actually tell you what's going on, but it's working.
Oh, you're gonna you're like a recruitment tool for that area.
I
Don't
can
say the
already see,
name. Don't say the name, or all of a sudden, like you're going to be filled with like, oh, this peaceful, quiet place is now filled with people trying to get the elixir of youth.
years ago, I wanted to move, and I did briefly move to San Diego. I had this
Hmm.
visions of becoming a pro triathlete dancing in my head.
Hmm.
And I fixed up my home in Fort Collins, Colorado, put it on the market, loaded everything up into the U-Haul, moved it all out there. Within a week or so, still unable to find a place to live. I'm going, my God, what have I done?
Yeah.
And I feel like I was rejected from paradise. Loaded it all back up in a U-Haul, sprinted back to Colorado. House hadn't sold in a week, thank God. Moved in, got my MBA, got another degree, and started a whole nother phase of my life.
Wow.
But there was still that goal of wanting to be someplace really special that I could train.
Mm.
Maui was really full on, amazing paradise.
Hmm.
You got to be careful in the water. It's
Right.
incredibly heads up swimming. There are some nice places to run, but you can't really like do beach running, and there's not that much in trails.
Hmm.
And the riding, there's not that much either. It's incredible, but it's not exactly a triathlete's paradise. You don't
Hmm.
actually equate it with triathlon training. Big Island, different, but not
Mm.
there.
Right.
This place here, if I step back, I'm going, wow, there are even 70 and 80-degree days occasionally in the winter.
Wow.
You can
Wow.
train here year round. You could probably swim here 7, 8 months of the year. We'll find out, but we know how long I swam in New York. So on the Jersey border, I'll probably be able to swim quite a bit here. The riding out in the countryside is phenomenal. I'm going, man, they could turn this place into a triathlon mecca.
Well, a dear friend of mine is there in North Carolina, and he said he has a pool, and he said November, December, and January is the only time I put the cover on the pool because it was too cold to swim. But all the other months, like 9 months, he was swimming in his pool. Now, a pool's different than an ocean, but I do think you were in a triathlon mecca. Do you have other athletes there, or is it mostly retired community folks?
I think they're here, but it's not cohesive. It's
Right.
it's ironic. I joined through meetup.com. This is so sad and pathetic and funny. I joined via meetup.com a bicycle riding group last week that
Yeah. Oh,
shows,
cool.
I think, like 802 members on
Right.
Meetup.
Hmm.
They had a meetup on Sunday. 4 guys showed up, very, very friendly guys. And I showed up. Hi, everyone. And I rode with them just to find the local roads that aren't riding on the highways because I don't know where is good to ride and where isn't. Saw the roads, came back, did an epic little adventure on the tandem with Jessica, who's just getting into amazing shape here. And then the next day, it was 2 days ago, I got an email from the club saying that I'd been kicked out of the club for non-payment of dues. It had said on Meetup, optional, if you want to donate something, donate. And I
Oh.
had literally just joined and just checked it out. And I'm like, man, I already got kicked out of the club. And there's an irony because in Maui and other places, I had tried so hard to find group rides and it just never worked out. It was
Right.
kind of the running joke. I'd show up for a group ride, there'd be an unadvertised race, all the locals would be gone. I mean, just this string of things. It never, ever worked out. And
Right.
here I was, first weekend here, made it to the group ride. Woohoo! And
Yeah, and
then
they're like,
pretend
"You're
we
kicked
float.
out."
Okay, then. So there's a triathlon club. I haven't tried them yet. Maybe
Well,
I'll
who
have to
knows?
look.
I mean, as long as you pay your dues, maybe you can still be part
I
of
take
that.
it as a sign.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so Jessica's doing great. How about the black mold that you guys got?
So a few days ago, we turned on the air conditioner for the first time, and it was piping, pouring down in the bathroom, and not as much in the rest of the house. And so I'm going, well, let me check the vent and see if I can just adjust that. You don't need that much cool air in a middle bathroom in the house. And I was like, wow, it's got all sorts of funky stuff on it. And I pulled out the vent, and it was completely covered in black junk.
Oh, it's like
And you
like a
look up
horror
at the
movie.
vent and it's got all these circles of blackness and you're
Oh
going, oh God,
no,
oh
no,
boy.
no,
And
yeah.
this really gets into the crux of today.
Right.
We didn't panic. We were concerned because for those who haven't heard, the whole reason we're not living in Maui anymore is because Jessica got very sick with mold toxicity poisoning.
Hmm.
So we treat this on a concern level 10.
Right, really sick, like out of commission for months. Six
Yeah,
months, 8 months. How many months?
arguably 2 years.
Two
I mean,
years from
it's a
being.
gradual spiral down into the fog, down into the up in the mid morning, back down by noon, and gone for the rest of the day.
Wow.
And it was really scary, and it's something that can well, it can literally kill you over time. So it's an
Mm.
autoimmune condition. So when we saw this, there was every opportunity to panic. We didn't panic. We're like, what do we do? Let's breathe into this. Okay, not in the house. Let's open all the windows up. All right, let's go outside. Let's breathe into this. And let's just try to accept what are we going to need to do? Who knows? I'm like, I have a very good feeling about our realtor. Let's get in touch with him, but let's not panic on this one. And it was real interesting to see the changes that we've made, maybe from the work that we're doing, maybe from the coaching or from the people we've had on the shows. I can't say, but we treated it with a lot more of a, we know this is guidance. We know this is steering from the universe. We pray we get to stay here. If it really is black mold, we can't. I turn on a video on YouTube. I'm looking, trying to find out, and there's a guy pulling down a looks like an identical vent to mine, and he goes, "Yep, calling my lawyer." Not what I wanted to see.
Right.
Um, but we took it as a whatever. I know this is incredibly difficult. If we had to move, we've been here 10 days, we'll move. We have no idea where we'll go, what we'll do, but let's not even get that far ahead of ourselves. We did
Right.
call our good friend Marianne. We called the realtors where we took all the steps we could, but then we just relaxed into it. The next morning, I did this yesterday morning, I did a whole bunch of automatic writing on it. And they were teaching me all sorts of lessons that are going to come out of this experience. And it was very reassuring and telling us how we're in a different place of faith and trust and knowing that everything really does happen through you and for you rather than to you. And Jessica got a bunch of learnings in her automatic writing as well. And she's doing intention work too, going, I do not want to leave this place yet. Please help us find a solution so we can stay. The realtor came in midday with a duct cleaning guru gentleman on the island, and he goes, "Oh no." He goes, "You've got a lot of dirt in your system, but the system's only 2 years old, and this isn't mold."
Oh,
So, and I'll take his word on that because I don't think he has any reason to say
right.
otherwise. And so they're going to clean all the duct work and stuff. But we were like, phew. We turn on the air conditioner with a nice cooler air in the house and the humidity levels down in the house. We feel good.
Okay, good. So
So
it's good. Yeah. So there's like an initial panic, but at this point you think it's not mold then.
we
It's just
don't think
about
it's
the.
mold.
Okay.
And we never hit the full panic. We hit the concern level 10 without panicking. The difference being we didn't start to run around with chickens with our heads chopped off and start to make really stupid decisions, which I, for one, have been in the past at least incredibly capable of. That when crap goes down, I stop thinking clearly and I just want to take action too quickly in the situation and knee jerking.
Mm-hmm.
And we did not knee jerk on this one. We actually went out for a walk before we called anyone or did anything and said, let's take a step back from the situation.
Mm. How do you feel that? I mean, that kind of feels like a final exam that you pass to me. How does it feel to you?
It feels good. It was certainly the question in automatic writing. I'm going, why? Why are you giving us this one? Why?
And what did you get as a response?
That it was a teaching about faith and trust and believing that everything's going to work out. They actually said, and Jessica's like, that's just too convenient. They gave me the na poo poo. We're not going to tell you what's going on yet. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, come on. But what I got is you're doing things very differently this time around.
It's
And
funny.
that's what's most important.
I had a very similar thing where as I told you, I'm going to be doing this workshop in Philadelphia next week, and um, starting in the beginning of the week, and every day I got more and more information, and it got more and more dramatic, and I was getting more and more involved in the drama because, like any great movie, you relate to the main character, and then you start getting involved, and you get emotions, and I was kind of ramping up, and I had the wherewithal to go, okay, I'm going to have a coaching session. And I booked it like last week before this event even occurred, not thinking I needed one. But then I said, well, I'm just going to do it because I want to work on some other fears, unreasonable fears that I have. Primarily about writing a book and if that's something I want to do or not, or, because it seems like I'm getting the universal message, like, do something with mothers and moms. After talking to you, remember you told me last week.
That's
And
not the first time we've been getting those comments about you.
really, okay, so
Yeah.
then you'll have. That's why I'd love for you to share them because it seems like I'm like, oh, and then I was just running on Green Lake, and which is our local place. My husband and I do our walk all the time, and I ran into this woman, and I stopped, and she said, "Oh, it's funny. I would really like you to do some stuff for our parenting group." And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it was just out of the blue, and then got together for a women's group yesterday, and I wanted to support a new friend of mine who is hosting this thing. It's for Duke parents or Duke alumni, and it's for women. And I really wanted. She asked me, and I didn't go. I forgot to put my calendar. I found out about it last minute, so I went. And then a friend of mine was saying, "Oh yeah, we should actually do a women's thing with CJ." So it's like it's kind of coalescing around the universe is trying to like open my mind up to something that I've been like very resistant to. Um, but yeah,
Where's the resistance coming from?
I don't know. I don't like writing. I don't think I'm a good writer. I feel like I had probably a trauma when I was younger about writing, and so there's still this kind of a little bit of that in there, and I don't know. I don't know. I've never written anything, so I don't really. The thought of writing a book seems ridiculous, but um,
How many authors have you had on the show, though,
like a bajillion.
and who are not inherently great authors, but turn out a good enough product with a great message?
Yeah, that's true. And I think I have a lot of good insights. I write them down, but I've never gone back to those notes and really thought like, all right, if I were to really help people, which is my in my heart is the desire to help people, and what you're saying is people are saying I need help. So
Mhm.
I thought, well, the fastest way to do that is to probably write a book, right? Because I can't meet with people individually and perhaps even teach a class where I do meet with people and can kind of get a sense of the way of talking about these things that resonates with other people. So I'm not sure what's happening, but
I
that's kind of
feel
happening.
I'm so excited. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in here because I can feel your fear, and the fear that I'm feeling
Yeah.
suggests, and this is my total bias, so I completely admit this, but the fear I'm feeling says you have to step into it.
Oh, I will. Here's how I normally work. If something comes up, because like you mentioned it, like all this stuff is coming out of the woodwork. I'm like, okay, this is up for me, right? This idea is up for me. And even my husband's like, you need to write a book about this. So like it's I would say over the last month, it's kind of circling around and like little gentle, like, hey, by the way, like those kind of things. And then recently, the thing with the thing with, hey, do you want to work with this parenting group at the high school? That happened like 3 days ago. And then my girlfriend was like, it's kind of now it's accelerating. The messages are accelerating. I'm like, okay, okay. And even this most recent incident that I'm having, or this group coaching that I'm doing right now, is group coaching, right? Which I could do with a group of women about these issues if I wanted to. I don't know. But I'm doing group coaching and kind of learning about group coaching. Why? I don't know. It's just what I was brought to, and I'm just leaning into it. But yeah, it feels like this is up for me. And what I usually do is I have all these fears that pop up. I don't want to write a book. I'm scared of women because I've had mixed experiences working with mostly women, and so.
And you talked about in your Silicon Valley days, so to speak, in your tech days, that it was mainly men who you were
Yeah,
working
I've
with.
always been a tomboy, and it's mostly because when I was very young, I had some girls that were just did some awful things to me, and so I think I kind of like girls are scary. Groups of girls are scary, so I don't want to be around them. I'd rather be with one or two women or men, and fine. I'm actually fine with groups of men, just groups of women. And and actually just even thinking about it, I can tell it's like, meh. So, and in fact, what's happening with this event that's happening on Tuesday that I have to coach is it's actually two women that are having issues, and they're having like, I don't know how to describe it, but they're having issues, the ones that kind of trigger me. So I literally had to do work yesterday on
Cool.
kind of calming down my triggering. So I think I'm a little bit better about um, I know the genesis of the issues. I think I've healed them. I brought all my resources to bear, but it's the same kind of thing. Like these things happen, they have these triggered responses, and I am definitely trying to step into it. But you have to identify what the resistance for me. You don't have to do anything. The way I usually work is I go, wow, the universe is like calling me to do this, and ah, I'm scared in these three or four ways. And then I say, okay, well, we're going to methodically go through each of these three or four ways and knock them down one by one. Now, at the very end, if you say, okay, I'm getting these messages from the universe and you've removed all your resistance, then answer yes or no. But I think what people often do is they're like, oh, the universe is saying no. But that's usually your fear saying no.
Absolutely.
So what I'm doing is going, okay, I have a lot of inner no's, but I don't even know it's a real no. There's no as a result of fear, right? Because you're kind of like, oh my God, like, I see mold. Should I leave? Oh my God. Like, like that. And you kind of you start becoming a generator
When
of
you don't have
fear
the
and no.
information yet. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
fear and no-ness, right? Those fears and no-ness came up, and I have so many dear friends, including a supportive husband. And throughout the whole time, I'm like, okay, that's just me kind of, blowing this fear and feeding energy into it. And then I would talk to a friend. I'm like, okay, this is how I'm going to solve this. And then I would talk to another person in this group and be like, ah, and then like, okay, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But the
Sounds
graduation
like
process,
waves in the tide, waves
yeah,
in the ocean.
but the graduation process is very similar to yours, right? It's you, and the place that I went to is faith. It's like, okay, we are all connected. This is all connected in ways that I just don't see right now. And I have faith that all this stuff is happening for the betterment of myself and all the others around me. I don't know why is it like why is it this is happening? Why can't it be like the other group that like all these? It's like just say this is meant for a reason. It may be for you. It may be for other people. It's most likely for all of you. And then just have faith and go to a place of inner stillness, which has been so hard to do. But I've been trying. And I haven't succeeded always, but there have been like 1 or 2 seconds of inner stillness where I interviewed Nadi G. He has this book called The Stillness Sutras. Have you interviewed him yet?
No, haven't.
Okay. But it's these books about stillness and how, and it's about the process of merging with consciousness. And when you actually merge with consciousness with no blockages or kriyas, what happens is that you become very, very still. And in that stillness, you can feel the contentment, the peacefulness, the serenity of being one with the universe, with consciousness. And really, it's back to the pulselic. Like, I know who I am. I am this divine consciousness, individuated divine consciousness. I know who I am. I know how I serve. Like, it's that kind of place that you go to, or I surrender, whatever these thoughts, these fears, it's just all my ego and thoughts and confusion that are trying to get me to get outside of my center. So I've been kind of going back into stillness, and that has really helped during this kind of chaos. Last week, it's been super chaotic. And these dramas are like, just like you want to poke your eyes out bad. Just like the mold, right? Like, I can't imagine anything worse than seeing mold, like exquisite happiness and then like,
It had to hit us on that visceral core level.
Absolutely.
I feel like I should bring it in here for show and tell.
No,
We'll leave it
don't
for
bring it
another
in.
time. Because we look at it in the bathroom now, and because they'll be doing the ducks soon, one of these days coming up here. And I'm like, wow, that was really scary. And Jessica's looking at that, and she's like, yeah, it's still really scary looking at that vent.
Yeah.
So, but that's often what it takes. Is it takes you are given these things. It's why we talk about loving it. Is we are given these, I don't want to call it tests, but these opportunities to do things differently, or opportunities, I love how you called it a few minutes ago, to lean in rather than to boogie and hightail it out of there. Because leaning in, it's kind of like leaning into one of those revolving doors. Mm-hmm. The door opens up and suddenly you're through to a completely different place.
That's a beautiful imagery. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's what you did. And that's what I'm doing and trying to do. It does feel good though, right? I mean, I hadn't even thought about, sometimes you don't spend the time to self-congratulate yourself. Like, that's great. Like, like, I can congratulate you and go, God, that is so great that you're doing that, Michael. It really is. Like, doesn't that feel fulfilling and like celebratory? And what I realized is I'm like, hey, I've done that too.
Yes.
Like, you forget to celebrate yourself and all the heart. It's for me, it's a lot easier to celebrate other people than it is to go, like, as I was listening, I'm like, I've done that too. I get a nice job, CJ.
And the more you say the nice job, CJ, the more it brings about more nice jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an appreciation for yourself, right?
And for the universe. That's one of the things when I was out on the beach a few days ago, because I've been operating, like I said, kind of a closed place, waiting to see what happens. But there's also been some fear involved. Oh, is this, because it was a major, major move for us.
Super major.
And I wasn't thinking this is a wrong decision, but I'm going, was this the wisest decision at this time, young grasshopper? And then I'm out on the beach a couple of days ago and I go, yes, it is. We're supported. We're loved by universe. This was the most awesome thing in the world. I can't believe I'm here. I'm over the top excited. Look at where we are. Woohoo!
Yeah.
And it's that kind of energy that if we can embody that and bring it into our own lives rather than just saying it about our friends' lives,
right?
I think we raise our game to another level, and I think we become much more of an attractor magnet to whatever goodness we want to bring in.
Right. Okay, so what happened when you were on the beach and you saw piranha models?
Oh, well.
And what were you doing with this push mower? Were you on the beach with push mower?
Oh, God, no. Running up and down the beach, chasing people with a push mower. That would be interesting. And a show for, another channel. We bought an eco push mower. So one of the old 1950s style push mowers. It was hire landscapers or do it ourselves. And I'm a do it yourself kind of guy. If you can get the exercise out of it, why not?
Right.
And I used to love push mowers, although I always bought old rusty things from Goodwill that worked half a darn. This time I got this 20-inch model, wide thing, blah, blah, blah. This eco-made unit, and Jessica assembled it.
It's no electrical cord or gas, right? It just goes in parts. But yeah, we used to have one of those. Those are great.
No, it's vegan or vegetarian powered. Right. And Jessica assembled before my first interview earlier today this beautiful lighting, which maybe we'll talk about in a minute. And then she went on to assemble the mower. I got out of my interview. I'm like, Jessica, where's Jessica? and I'm hearing a gas mower outside. I'm like, I don't know why it sounds or feels like she's mowing, but we don't own a gas mower. And so I went looking for her some more. And then out the back window, I see her racing across the backyard with the push mower.
But it sounded like a regular
No,
mower?
neighbor was running a gas
Oh,
mower at the same time. She's like, why should you get to have all the fun?
that
And
is cute.
so she had a blast with it. And I think it's totally cool. And I call it resistance training. You know, you can go push the mower for an hour once a week.
I guess that's true. It's our mind says, oh, I'm mowing a lawn. That's a chore. I hate it now. Versus, I'm just getting exercise and I'm going to have fun doing
It's a
this push mower.
toy.
Yeah, that's funny. That's
So
really
there's
funny.
that piece. And then we've been on the beach and Jessica got in some beach clothing from Prana.
Uh-huh.
And apparently this 2 years, and I'm incredibly biased, everyone, so please forgive me. But apparently this 2 years recovery work that we've been doing with her in the gym has been amazing. She is absolutely like a drop dead gorgeous Prana model out at the beach. It is, and I'm like, my God, I married such a hottie. And she's like, I had no idea. She's like, you made me, Michael, through your coaching. I feel embarrassed even saying that, but she's like, it was the stuff that you had me do. I'm just floored at
Aw.
how much she's changed, and it's so cool. And that is a huge woohoo. And
Yeah.
and I'm just dumbfounded. Just
Yeah.
absolutely dumbfounded. Like, we should get you in a Prada catalog. We should get you in this because she loves Prada clothing, and she's finally found stuff that fits her, and she's got these beautiful broad shoulders now from lifting and coming into her own power. And she stands kind of like the Amy Cuddy presence. She no longer curls forward and small. It was
Oh,
probably
great.
there all along, but she's boom, start
Wow.
tall. It's
Yay.
and then I can't keep up with her. But that's all right. I got the camera. I got the photos.
Oh, good. Are you going to put the photos on your website so we can see?
I am, and there's some just. It's just it's it's very humbling to see how far she's come.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
And it's so interesting to watch life go both in circles, spiraling upwards, how she was when we left the beach, when we left Maui a few years ago, and she was a complete disaster. She chose, you can't do it for somebody, she chose to flip the on switch. She chose to drag herself out of bed and get herself to the gym. She chose to change her diet. She had a good diet, but specifically for mold. And I couldn't tell her, telling Jessica to do something will get the opposite of the desired result. 100% guaranteed. So this was all decisions that she made that completely transformed her health.
Hmm.
So I'm excited. She said something really fun and interesting earlier this week, and I haven't done a triathlon in years. Clearly, I guess probably one's coming. I hadn't planned on this, but she's like, "Oh, my husband took me to Emerald Isle, and I ended up becoming a triathlete." Crap. She said it a little more positive like that, but she's like, the writing's on the wall. Now I have to teach her how to swim well, and I've never coached. I've coached higher level swimmers.
Mm.
I've never coached somewhere around the beginning level, and I don't have any idea what to do. But there's a salt water. This is divine. There's a saltwater pool near here,
Oh,
not
neat.
chlorine, not chemicals, and so we can go in there in a controlled environment and start to work on her swimming stroke.
Oh, very, very cool. That's so exciting because I met you guys when you were in Maui. And so I remember seeing Jessica, and she was just so ill. She was just, like you're saying, kind of like slumped down and ill. She was so, so sick and just sleeping all the time. And so, what a huge, miraculous change that she's made for herself, right? Through all the series and choices that she made. And what's great is that one, it shows you what's required for personal transformation too, because first you have to choose. You have to choose to flip the switch. And then you have to make choices from everything, from your diet to how you're living to your mind. And she's worked on mind, body, spirit, all three of those things. And look at the miraculous place that she's in.
And she done the intention work. So this year she got abs. She's like, I don't understand how it did it. I put it down in my intention work. I visualized it, but it was just kind of a joke, a game. I wasn't actually like trying to, if it happens, universe, and you want to give me good, strong abs, sure. But the darn thing actually worked. She
Mm-hmm.
put the energy out there. She did the visualization work. She wrote her intention work. She did it in kind of a hypnagogic state. And it's
Yeah.
staggering. It's
Yeah.
staggering how it all works.
I'm sorry. I still tell your story about how you're visualizing incredible abs, flat abs, and that the fat went to your back. That's
Yeah,
still
we're
one of my.
working on that,
I'm
CJ.
still. That's still one of my
I'm
favorite all-time stories.
I'll
Sorry.
never live this one down. I don't know if I will have six-pack abs in this lifetime, but I'll look darn okay. How's that on the beach?
I'm not even close to any. Like, there's no musculature in my stomach at all. There's a lump that's caused from like eating too much food, but really, the thought of actually having a six pack. I mean, at best, I'll have a two pack that's resulting from a belly button somehow giving a visual sense that there's
There's
two.
there's something to be said. We are very fortunate, and I'll challenge people if you have the opportunity in your life, if you can find an opportunity to get to a place that supports your physical growth as well as your spiritual, your mental, and your career growth, the ability to get outside here all the time
Yeah,
is already making such a major difference because you had to drive to the trails. Now we can basically jog out our front door or ride out our front door. And because of that access to the outdoors, it's I like to say that I don't want to help people be more motivated or to try harder. I never think trying harder is the answer, but how can we trip over success? How
right.
we can set up the systems that make it so ridiculously easy. And we managed, I want to say, God willing, spirit willing, cheeseburger in the sky willing, we managed to find a place where it's easy to trip over getting outside and getting
Right.
yourself
Yeah.
healthy.
I mean, luckily Seattle is that. I mean, I can walk out and it looks like I'm on a beautiful path in the mountains because even though I'm live in the city, because it's that kind of place. It's funny too
Awesome.
because I was just talking to. Did you talk to Sarada? I can't remember her last name. Who wrote the book on enlightenment? The last something home. Anyways. Um,
No, not yet.
Okay. Anyway, so I was talking to her, and she also said, like, she has reached enlightenment, and in her definition of enlightenment is to be able to her default setting is to get to that Paul-Selig place where you're just one with consciousness and the universe. And she said it has given her incredible amount of peace and calm. But she didn't get there. She didn't arrive there immediately. She had periods where she lost it, just like you and I, right? We have periods where we lose that. And she said, also like yourself, that she's like, it's really nature. Anytime I lose it, I just go back to nature. I walk outside my door. It's not like she has to go on any hike. She just goes outside. She lives in Princeton, New Jersey. She just goes out the door and looks at a tree, or sits in her garden, and that's all she needs. And that's the thing that allows her to snap back. So you're the second person who's told me that this week, and I get it. And luckily I'm in a place where I can just get nature like in 2 seconds by walking out my door. That's important.
I can see the billboard campaign now. Got nature.
It's hard because I don't know because I remember talking to someone who lived in like she was coaching a group of people who lived in Shanghai. That's
That's
it's this
hard.
yeah I should like maybe a little house plant that you have on the corner of your table, but there's no tree that you can just go out and touch or see necessarily in a big city. I think that's the hardest thing for people who want to get back to nature and live in the city. That I don't have an answer for. It'd be interesting to talk to someone in the city and see what they do.
It takes a commitment. I've coached people in a whole bunch of different cities. New York City, thankfully, you have Central Park, and that is
Yes.
huge. Coached somebody recently, a great individual who lives in the Houston area,
Right.
and that takes a significant drive. But I was thinking about it and doing the math, and I'm like, it doesn't actually take that much more of a drive than me in New Jersey and getting to the trails.
Yeah.
It's doable. It does take a special commitment, but I feel it's offset by how much you get out of it, the energy that you get on the backside of doing it, the clarity of mind. So it takes building in that habit, and it could be one of my biggies is once you're out, stay out. So instead of coming home and then choosing to get back out to the trails or something, that never happens. Build it into that daily routine before you get home to touch nature, to be out on a trail, to be by the water, whatever that looks like. And it's really replenishing for you.
All right. Any other final tips?
Yeah. Remember, truly, everything happens through you and for you rather than to you. So when the crap is going down and you're going, why me? Why now? Why again? There's a little funny part of me right now that wants to say, why not? It's there to serve you. And something great, absolutely positively can come out of it. Move slowly, breathe deep, step back. Yes, get to the tree, get to water, get to nature if you can. But if you can wrap your mind around something positive can come out of this. I remember, and this final note, I remember when I first had my first near-death experience, and I was coming back from it and saying, I can't dwell on the negativity. I had a fiance at the time, lost her too in the process. I called it the festivities. I'm like, I can't dwell on the negative right now because I don't have the resources to do that. Is this a positive experience? I'm going to choose that it has to be a positive experience, and I'm going to make it into one if I'm going to survive. So it may be that you have to make a conscious choice. Something positive can come out of this. I'm going to love this experience because something positive can come out of it, and it will.
I'm with you. Woohoo!
Woo-hoo! Anything else you've got on your end, CJ?
No, I'm just thrilled. That was the perfect ending. I was listening to it and getting lost in it and like, yes, you're right, Michael.
And we'll talk about green screens next time.
Yes.
For everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler and
CJ Lou
saying, be well, have fun, choose, love, and embrace the experience going on right now in your lives, no matter what. And something positive can and will come out of it. And shine bright.
Woohoo!
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.